The video I'm about to show you is one of the latest projects we've done that we've released in just the last year. And this was one of my first post-college projects. So I'm excited to share it with you because it was done without the stress of papers and class. But this is our trafficking investigation. And it was born out of our sexual abuse project investigation that we did over 3.5 years. Because as we learned about the sexual abuse cover-up at Planned Parenthood, we began to understand that it extended beyond the individual cases of sexual abuse cover-up, but that a reproductive health center that doesn't ask questions about sexual abuse, that doesn't look with any form of discrimination on different lifestyles, can look at a prostitute or someone who's being prostituted, trafficked as a young and vulnerable victim, and can even look at their abuser and not report it and not care holistically about attempting even to rescue that victim. And so what happens is these non-reporting abortion clinics have become the perfect partner for pimps in our country, who rely on their services to keep their businesses going, especially as they're exploiting very vulnerable young girls. The Department of Justice estimates that there are 300,000 children in our country who are trafficked, who are sold for sex, and many of them are domestic victims. And one of the ways to keep this industry alive is the quiet abortion clinic. Who will take care of the problem when one of those little girls gets pregnant. In the life of a sex slave, pregnancy happens at least once. Where do they go? Where are they taken? Where does the pimp procure the morning after the RU-48-6? Where does he go? And he'll especially keep an eye out for a government discount, right? If you can get it, why not? And when our government is so intent on giving government discounts to Planned Parenthood or allowing them to administer them indiscriminately to all kinds of people, including these traffickers, then you see the American people complicit not only in abortion, but any number of other abusive activities that hurt women, that hurt especially young and vulnerable women. So this video was filmed that I'm going to show you now, the first 5 minutes of it. It's a 10-minute film. Just watch the first 5 minutes. I urge you to watch all of these. They're on our website, Live Action's website, and along with all of our other projects. But this video is a sample, it's a peek into a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic. The two actors that you see in the film are friends of mine. They're fantastic. They're live action team workers. They're very brave. They went in there and did this work. And this manager that we're talking to is one of 7 different Planned Parenthood staffers. I think there were 8 actually that we interacted with for this project. Everyone from the manager to the supervising clinician to the nurse to the front level staffer who were willing to aid and abet in the trafficking of underage girls. You can play the video now. In January of 2011, undercover investigators went into Planned Parenthood of Central New Jersey, posing as a pimp and his prostitute. Sex trafficking of minors is a federal crime and punishable by imprisonment for 10 years to life. Any person who aids, abets, or counsels a federal crime to be committed may be punished as if they had committed the crime themselves. The pimp was greeted by the clinic manager, Amy Woodruff. The pimp asked Planned Parenthood to help him provide secret abortions and birth control for his underage sex slaves. Will Planned Parenthood comply with the law? Help the pimp cover up his sex abuse of underage girls and become a partner in crime?
So we want to make it look as legit as possible. If they're minors, just tell them to put down that they're students. My partner in crime.
Offer the pimp advice on how to run his business.
I mean, they still got money, you know?
Yeah, waist up,
Okay.
or just be that extra action walking by.
So we're involved in sex work, all right? And there's some girls that we manage that we're not quite sure if I got it from one of them.
Okay.
All right, so they might need to come in here and get tested as well. Do you
Yeah,
guys provide services for that?
Excuse me. So for women, we have 2 options. We can either do a full GYN exam, so that would then involve the breast exam, the pelvic exam, pap smear, stuff like that. And then we can also do the STD testing at that part. And then that way, if they're having any issues that need actual further looking into, that can be taken care of at that point in time.
Now the thing is, Okay, so some of them are like, some of them are young. They're kind of like, some are like 15, 14, and some of them don't speak any English, you know, because they're not even from here. So it's like, how can they come in here? Because they don't always feel comfortable coming into facilities.
One, minors are always accepted without parental consent.
Okay.
The only thing that you do have to be careful is, if they are a minor, we are obligated, if we hear any certain information, to kind of report. So the first thing with that is, what if they do speak English or even Spanish? It doesn't matter what they speak. It doesn't matter what they speak. If we're going to have it translated, they just have to be aware that they have to be careful with what, you know, I'm not kind of like leading in, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
I know, it's fine. How would you
just,
recommend, like, because you want them to get the help, so
well, exactly.
what would you recommend?
Exactly, but so mainly, like, on the paperwork, there's going to be a point that asks, you know, like, are you sexually active, stuff like that. If they're under a certain age, we're kind of, you know, me and my other counselor, like, for the most part, we want as little information as possible. We want as little information as possible because we're not going to get involved in this shit. You know, excuse my word.
No, that's...
Once we get to the nurse practitioner, she's a little bit more anal, so she likes to kind of dig a little bit more. So how old is your partner? You know, that kind of stuff. So that's where, you know, so even if they lie, just say, oh, he's the same age as me, 15, you know, so like if they're 15, it's just like mainly 14 and under, we have to. Doesn't matter if their partner's the same age, younger, whatever. 14 and under, we have to report.
14 under. That includes being 14. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
14, you know, once they get to 15, then there's a little bit more playroom. So as long as they just lie and say, oh, he's 15, 16, you know, as long as they don't say 14, and as long as it's not too much of an age gap, then we just kind of like, play.
What if they do say they're 14?
Well, you know, then from there, it's just really watching what they say.
What if they need an abortion, though?
Oh, that's a completely different story now.
Oh.
Now, if they're this is more just for testing the stuff.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
We need to know.
If they come in for pregnancy testing, at that point, it still needs to be. You never got this from me, just to make all of our lives easier.
Okay.
If they're 14 and under, just send them right there if they need an abortion. Okay, let them do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will they ask questions or anything? Do they need ID or something?
They won't need ID. Then they're going to be a little bit more different, but their protocols aren't as strict as ours, and they don't get audited the same way that
Take them to
we do, like with the chart.
the
So pregnancy,
Metropolitan
14.
Medical
Like
Association.
this is for 14 and under. I'm saying. Once they hit 15, it's kind of a whole different playing field with the age and New Jersey guidelines. You know what? I want to see. Let me get you guys a copy of this too.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me just do that now before I get sidetracked. This is actually just a minor's rights. This way you guys have a copy of this.
Oh, good. And
so you already kind of know before you get into any situation, like, oh, all right. Okay, no, let's not do this way, let's go this way. You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Hang on 1 second. I use this as my Bible.
Okay, there you go. That's your Bible, all right.
No matter what, you get so many parents, I mean, like, you understand where they're coming from, but it's like, oh, but she's a minor. Okay, yeah, so.
Hey.
still needs to be safe.
Exactly.
you know.
Like, you know, she's still entitled to care without mom knowing what the hell's going on. So, all right, so for pregnancy, 14 and under, just go straight there.
Okay.
Keep us out of the loop because keep us out of the loop because you know, exactly.
Yeah.
You can stop it there. That's just a sample. After that video was released, the House of Representatives, in the first time ever, voted to defund the biggest abortion chain, which is wonderful. We saw major media breakthroughs. CBS Nightly News was even airing the videos. And then when the U.S. House of Representatives was not followed the suit by U.S. Senate and by the president, then locally and statewide, states started to do the job. And so Texas led the way, and 6 other states are now defunding Planned Parenthood on the state level. So it's a very good time. A lot of people's lives, though, today even are at risk, right? So we're in this tension point when we're seeing the most pro-life victories across the country than we've ever seen before. When we're seeing more Americans identify as pro-life than ever before. When we're seeing more young people identify as pro-life than ever before. It's amazing, it's exciting, but we're still, I believe, just beginning. We have to continue to keep up the fight because we've made progress, but now's not the time to say, okay, we're satisfied, let's go home. Now's the time to push the ball further down the court because we're not gonna rest, and I will not rest. My life is dedicated to this work. I cannot rest, my team will not rest. I know you cannot rest until we see every life protected in our country by love and by law, and we'll fight for that day. We'll make that day happen. I firmly believe that in my lifetime, soon, in all of your lifetimes too, we're gonna see a day when every life is protected again in America. Thank you for leading the fight. Many of you who've been in this long before me, my generation is looking to you. We're standing on your shoulders. Continue to invest in us and encourage us. Continue to lead by example. We're going to win this, and an all-powerful God is on our side, so how could we ever fail? Thank you so much.